Imagine walking through the woods on a cold February day, the ground still frozen from winter, when you come across a cardboard box tossed into the brush. You open it, expecting maybe garbage, maybe an old blanket or junk someone didn't care to throw away properly. Instead, inside lies the small, fragile body of a boy. He has no clothes, no shoes. His hair is unevenly cut, almost hacked away in places. His bruised skin tells a story of suffering, but not one that anyone has ever come forward to explain. No one is searching for him. No one reports him missing. No one claims to be his parent, his sibling, or even his neighbor. For more than 60 years, this child was known only by a haunting title: the boy in the box. Today, we're going to explore one of America's most chilling cold cases, a mystery that baffled police, obsessed investigators, and captured the public's imagination for decades. And even though science has finally given the boy back his name, the darkest questions remain unanswered. On February 25, 1957, in the Fox Chase neighborhood of Philadelphia, a young man was checking his rabbit traps along a quiet dirt road. The area was remote, overgrown with brush and trees. As he made his way through the thicket, he stumbled across a large, battered cardboard box. The box had once contained a bassinet, but when he looked inside, he didn't find furniture. He found the body of a boy. The child was wrapped in a thin plaid blanket. He looked between 3 and 7 years old, painfully thin, with bruises across his body. His hair had been chopped unevenly, some clumps still clinging to his skin. He was naked, and there were no signs of who he was, or where he had come from. The young man hesitated. At first, he didn't report the discovery. Perhaps he was frightened, perhaps he didn't want to get involved. But eventually police were notified, and the area was swarmed with investigators. What they discovered only deepened the mystery. The cardboard box had once been used to ship a J.C. Penney bassinet. Detectives traced it to a local store and confirmed that hundreds had been sold, but with cash purchases and no records of who bought them, it was a dead end. The plaid blanket was equally mysterious. Investigators learned it had been mass-produced in North Carolina, but again, thousands of identical blankets had been sold across the country. The boy himself showed puzzling details. His fingernails and toenails were neatly trimmed. His body was freshly bathed, though the bruises suggested prolonged mistreatment. His stomach was shrunken, showing signs of malnourishment. Investigators couldn't even determine a clear cause of death. Some suspected blunt force trauma, others suggested suffocation. The one thing they did know: this child had not died peacefully. The Philadelphia police launched one of the most intense manhunts in their history. Over 400,000 flyers featuring the boy's face were distributed. His photo was placed on gas bills sent to households across the city. Detectives combed through orphanages, foster homes, hospitals, and schools. They checked missing children's reports across state lines. Yet shockingly, not a single report matched him. Think about that for a moment. In an era when families lived close together, when neighborhoods knew every child on the block, here was a boy that no one seemed to recognize. Police even tried something unusual for the 1950s. They retouched a photograph of the boy to imagine how he might look alive, dressed with a smile. This picture was circulated widely, but again, no one came forward. The case seemed cursed from the very beginning. As weeks turned to months, theories began to swirl. Each one seemed promising at first, but all ended in disappointment. The foster home theory. Not far from where the boy was discovered stood a foster home. Detectives suspected the boy might have been one of the children there. Perhaps he had been abused, perhaps even killed, and the caretakers tried to dispose of his body quietly. But every child in the home was accounted for. No solid evidence linked the foster family to the crime. The runaway mother theory. Another theory suggested the boy was the illegitimate child of an unwed mother. In the 1950s, societal shame around having children out of wedlock was severe. Investigators believed a desperate mother may have hidden her son, and when he died, abandoned him in the woods. It fit the times, but again no one was identified. The M confession. Decades later, in the early 2000s, a woman known only as M came forward with a shocking claim. She alleged that her mother had purchased the boy, kept him in their home, and abused him for years until one night, in a fit of rage, she killed him. The story was horrifying, and some details matched the evidence. But M was known to have serious mental health struggles, and investigators could not verify her claims. The lead went cold. Time and again, promising theories collapsed under the weight of missing proof. For decades, the boy's identity remained a mystery. He was buried in a pauper's grave with a small headstone that read simply, "Heavenly Father, bless this unknown boy." Later, when his remains were moved to a more prominent site, the words were changed to, "America's unknown child." That grave became a symbol, not just of tragedy, but of society's failure. How could a child vanish so completely that no one, not a parent, not a neighbor, not a teacher, stepped forward to claim him? The mystery gripped the public imagination. Amateur sleuths and retired detectives dedicated their lives to the case. Websites and forums sprung up, trying to piece together the truth. And through it all, the boy in the box remained silent. By the early 2000s, science finally offered something new. DNA technology allowed investigators to extract a genetic profile from the boy's remains. At first, results were limited, but as the science advanced, so did the hope. For years, genealogists built family trees from the DNA, slowly working their way back through distant cousins and relatives. It was painstaking work, but in 2022, 65 years after his death, there was finally a breakthrough. The boy was identified as Joseph Augustus Zarelli, born in January 1953. He was just 4 years old when he died. For the first time, the world knew his name. Joseph was born to parents whose identities have since been confirmed but not fully revealed by investigators. He lived in Philadelphia, not far from where his body was discovered. This detail was chilling. Joseph wasn't an unknown drifter or a child trafficked from another city. He was local. He was part of the community. And yet, no one reported him missing. Why? Did his parents hide his existence? Did they give him away to someone else who mistreated him? Was he deliberately kept secret from the world? The answers remain locked in silence. Identifying Joseph was a victory for forensic science, but it opened up a new set of mysteries. How did he die? The cause of death is still officially undetermined. Who is responsible? Was it his parents? A foster caretaker? Someone else entirely? Why was he never reported missing? This remains the most haunting question of all. Even today, police have not made any arrests. The case remains technically unsolved, though investigators have said Joseph's story is not finished. The boy in the box became more than just a case file. He became a symbol of every forgotten child, every victim who slips through the cracks. Generations of detectives visited his grave. Volunteers tended it, leaving flowers, toys, and candles. Entire communities adopted Joseph as their own, refusing to let him be forgotten. Now that his name has been restored, he is no longer just the boy in the box. He is Joseph. But justice for how his life ended still waits. The story of Joseph Augustus Zarelli is heartbreaking. For decades, he was a nameless victim, a mystery that gnawed at detectives and haunted strangers who felt compelled to care for a child they never knew. In 2022, DNA finally gave him back his name. But knowing who he was doesn't erase the sadness of his story. He was 4 years old, an age when most children are laughing, learning, and discovering the world. Instead, Joseph's short life ended in neglect, in violence, and in silence. And perhaps the darkest truth is this. Someone somewhere knows exactly what happened. The boy in the box is no longer unknown, but his story is far from over. So what do you think? Was Joseph the victim of abuse, neglect, or something even more sinister? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to hear more about the mysteries that still haunt our history, Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Because sometimes, even decades later, the past refuses to stay buried.